Okay guys, back with the Marvin Gaye project. I just had a nice swim and I'm feeling a bit more awake than I was earlier. So yeah, I just want to run you through the next level, which is always a lot of trying different things. I mean, this is really a crucial part because, you know, later on you might add stuff, you might add guitars, keys, effects, everything else, but it's just pretty much icing all of it in a way. But right now, I mean, you know, the way that the track is going is going to be very much dependent on rhythm. So this is where I'll spend quite a lot of time experimenting with stuff. So I've pulled up a plug-in here, a VST instrument that I've used for, well, I can't remember when I didn't use it. I mean, this has been pretty much the workhorse for me in everything I've ever done. So it's called Stylus, Spectrasonics. Any of you, probably a lot of you are familiar with it. If you're not, then it's just a very powerful drum groove station, loop station, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna just take you through how I would go about using Stylus. So let's just remove this a minute. And so what I've done is I've managed to loop the Jameson bass line. So just turn this up again, and as you can hear, in the end, I actually landed on the tempo of 98. I know it was 97 earlier on, but I kind of went for 98 because I found that by using the single bass track, I was able to really hone in it a bit more. So I've ended up at 98. I managed to loop pretty much the first four bars, and then I've just duplicated that in Cubase. It's like any other DAW. You would just highlight it and then just do that, and providing they're all cut exactly the same, you've got your loops there ready to go. So I've got a bit of bass, and at this point then I'm looking to get a groove drum wise that is going to complement that, so that if I want to play the bass line, I've got something good to play up. Now with the original drum track, as we played earlier, is pretty poor. I mean, it's just not really there. So kind of works, but we're looking for something a bit more inspirational. So at this point I'm going to pull up instrument in Cubase here. I'm going to go Spectrasonics, I'm going to go Stylus, track, and there it is. So Stylus, then basically it's kind of well, you know, it's limitless what you can do with this. You've got so much control over sound effects. You can cut things into different time signatures, pitch things, filter things. It is pretty incredible. However, I'll just show you a real simple way of using this. So what I'll do now is go into the core library. I won't go into the core library, I'll just go to Classic Stylus, and I'll set it to host. Now this means that every time I hit my space bar, that first loop there will kick in. So it's a really good way of auditioning grooves. So it means that every time I click one of these loops, it's going to give me it from one with the bass line, and I'm going to be able to kind of, just by using my ears, using my instinct, go, yeah, well that could be good. And I might end up with 3 or 4 or 5 of these auditioning. I might layer them up. Who knows? But for example, okay, let's quit the original track because we don't need that. Okay, so you can hear then, if I play that on its again. Now, if I wanted to go into effects, I can add, as you can see here, there's a limitless amount of stuff. You know, if I want to use this, get a bit more tape in there, for instance, saturate it. You know, I can even put the age of the tape. Get that really old school feel. Okay, that's almost breaking out at the bottom there. Let's just say I want to EQ it. I can do that. You know, so if I want to cuts, boosts, whatever I can. You know, like I say, there's a whole bunch of power. I mean, you know, even going into reverse. All possible. So, but right now, that's not really the point. All I'm trying to do at this moment is find a drum groove that is going to fit this track. So let's just go through a few here, and we'll see how we do. So first one, okay, well, it's a little bit kind of maybe a little bit too chilled for what we're doing. Want something a bit more soul orientated. So I might have a look through here, and you know, the descriptions are quite accurate sometimes, sometimes not. So, you know, I see something like Joe Jones, or I see something like Shifted Jazz. I mean, it's obviously they are jazzier ones. If I look at Slipknot and hipping, I know that there might be more hip hop. So, new school. Let's go. Let's just take a really. Let's have a gamble, and sometimes that's a fun part of using this program. I'll go Backstabber. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, let's go in a beat. Okay, well, it's kind of got a groove. So at that point then, I might want to play it with the bass line. So we've got the loop there. Okay, so we're going to run the bass. And then we're going to run the whole thing together. Now I can keep doing this vinyl analysis. Teddy. Okay, nice and bouncy. Bopper. Too flat. Ultra funk. Bit too sort of strung. No, too tiny. Okay, look, I mean, all I'm trying to do here is find something comfortable for me to play on. So, you know, this won't be used probably in the final thing. I mean, some of these things do make it to the final. There might be a layer, there might be something, but right now I'm just trying to find something that I can play the bass line to that is going to give me the right feel. So I'll see you in a second. I'm going to just have a sift through this, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so what I've ended up with is one called Jammer Gyro, which sounds like this. The reason I've used it is not too heavy. It's not too much bass drum in it. So, I mean, it gives me a lot of space for the bass. I like the hi-hat 16. I always like that kind of floaty 16 feel in the hi-hat. If we play the original, if we just take the click out, I mean, it's kind of an 8th throat pattern, but boom, boom, boom. It's got that kind of forward. Okay, so now if we go to our loop, yeah, it's kind of missing that bass drum, but it's kind of hinting at that feel, which I like. Okay, so we'll just hear them together again. Okay, that's cool. So what I'll do now is I'll pull that loop in. Now, I might want to change the sound of it, but I'm not going to do that till later because I'm trying desperately not to get too involved in the, you know, the mix of things too early on. At this point, it's all about the music, trying to get the feel, trying to get the music done. So this can all be done later on, all these tweaks. So I'm going to pull that in. Now, what happens is I go here, I pull that into my session, and as you can see down there, we've got a 2-bar loop. Okay, now we're going to be able to just do the same again, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate as many times as we want. And already at a very, very basic level, we've got a bass line and a drum loop working together, creating so, you know, you've got the meeting, like, you know, it's always fun. You've got Jameson actually in the studio in 1971, I think this was, in a very organic way, and then we've got it up against quite the opposite, where we've kind of come in and been around the department store and found something, found a suit for him, yeah, something he can wear that's going to sound good here. So I'm happy with that. So this is kind of where I'd arrive. Now, I spent a lot of time in this part of the whole thing because, as you can imagine, there are lots and lots and lots of choices. And sometimes you've just got to trust yourself and go, yeah, you know, that's it. Go with that, because you can spend an awful lot of time and sometimes go backwards, sometimes obviously go forward. But I mean, you know, like I say, and with this song, the brief's pretty clear. I don't want to drift too far away from the original. It's not like I'm doing a complete and utter mashup. I want to keep it pretty close to the original, kind of bring it up a notch in the production, but, you know, not straight too far away. So where I am now, I'm pretty happy with. Okay. So that's Stylus. Spectrasonics, I don't know what this goes for, guys, these days, right now, but it's an invaluable tool. And of course, it's replicating vinyl. So, I mean, if you're doing soul or jazz or anything that's kind of got that more grainy, lo-fi sort of sound, this is just amazing. I mean, you know, I've tried it in more ambient scenarios, and again, it's just incredible because of the effects and things you can do. Yeah, so really, really interesting piece of equipment, and you know, this in combination with Trillion, which I use a lot too for basses. You know, these are my go-to plug-ins or VSTs. So we'll pick it up next time. So as it stands at the moment, we've got a bit of a groove here. We've got a looped bass line. Next time in, we are going to be looking at adding some real bass. Okay, guys, thanks for your attention. Bye now.